Martel Hight is Vanderbilt's secret weapon. He's going to elevate the program in all three phases. Get excited. This is going to be fun.
You are Locked On Vandy, your daily podcast on the Vanderbilt Commodores, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, yo, listen up. It is Locked On Vandy, the Locked On Vandy podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. Welcome in. I'm your host, Corey Burton. Thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen each and every day. And shout out to you everydayers, and shout out to whoever got here, however you got here. Big props to you guys. Thank you. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube as a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And on today's episode, we're gonna look at a secret weapon that Clark Lea and Vanderbilt, well, it may not be such a secret weapon now, but it was before it. And I imagine the progression of how this started out. But Martel Hight and his willingness, his ability, and his actual contribution in all three phases of the game. He's going to be a two-way star, or three-way star, really. All three phases, two ways, I guess, offense and defense. But this is an exciting opportunity for Vanderbilt football, and it can't be overshadowed. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I think it took some talking into, and I think Clark Lea really had to evaluate the depth at cornerback. He had to evaluate the depth at wide receiver. And like any head coach, when you're dealing with your starting cornerback, you have to be convinced. And being a high school coach myself, or retired high school coach at this point, and I retired for personal reasons. I could still coach if I wanted to, but knowing what that's like, to convince the head coach of, hey, we should try this kid out at this position. We should look at it. I saw what he was doing. We should do X, Y, Z with this kid at blank position, right? We've all, if you're in the coaching business, you've been there. You've been there to convince the head coach. And I guarantee you that's the progression of how it happened, right? And it didn't just, oh, hey, we should use Martel Hight. Because, why? I don't see a reason why that would just come out of the blue. Without seeing him do something wide receiver related and going, And I guarantee, and the way it was told, it was one of the assistants. It was Jerry Kill, actually. And then he got over with his wide receiver coach, Alex Bailey and Tim Beck. And they all went to Coach Lee. And Coach Lee was like, no, it's my starting cornerback. Nah, let's not. And then they kept prevailing, and Clark Lea was like, oh, okay, we'll give it a shot in the spring. And I guarantee you, when he said, we'll give it a shot in the spring, he didn't think one bit that it would turn into something like this. But evidently he creates separation. He does a lot of things well. And it's really starting to pick up the attention of the team. And honestly, having a weapon like this is going to be a game changer. It's going to be a difference maker, right? It's going to be one of those situations to where you got to deal with them in punt return situations. Your defense is going to play, lights out just so Martell can get a chance to return some punts. They're going to get him in on some offense, and you never know. He could be out there 100 snaps a game, and they're consulting Coach Prime about how they handled Travis Hunter. This is a serious thing. So we're going to break this down like it's a serious thing, and it's going to happen. And Clark Lea said in SEC Media Days that he's going to play, every down, every day. And so it's going to be, it's going to be that type of situation to where you're looking at it going, okay, well, as long as the depth holds up, as long as he's not needed extra on defense, he's going to play offense a lot probably, and he's going to make some plays. He's fast. He's shifty. He's hard to tackle. He's hard to bring down, and he's got good hands, good ball skills. At the cornerback position, he's going to translate those over to receiver because the wide receiver position is in need of a playmaker. This guy's a playmaker, and Clark Lea is the type of coach that's going to say, listen, we're going to utilize all of our talent as best as we possibly can. So that's kind of where we're at here. So this is what Brandon Fontenette had to say. Now, this is a defensive star saying this about one of his teammates. And I don't know that he would hold back on that. I don't see any reason for him to hold back and just say and just make things up about his teammate just to make him look good. Like, I think there's reports that back this claim up that Martel Hight was giving people headaches in practice at wide receiver. Like, he was one of those, like, he was the best receiver on the field. And he was also one of the best corners on the field too. So this is going to be a very interesting move, but here's what he had to say. He's fast and he knows how to create separation. Vanderbilt star Brandon Fontenette said, that kid, he's a robot. I don't know how he plays both ways. Just seeing him grow from last year when he was just strictly playing corner to him playing receiver, it shows growth as a man and as a player. And so, and that, what that quote means is, like, you have to, playing any position in college football, major college football, is difficult. You have scheme, you have technique, you have a lot of film to watch, you have a lot of stuff to digest. It's not like playing high school where you can just throw somebody out there a corner and say, all right, go get it. We'll tell you what coverage we're in. Just go out there and go get it. Like, it's a lot more complicated than that, because there's a lot more intricate things that happen from the passing game standpoint and the run game standpoint that you have to be on high alert. Vanderbilt showed last year that if they're not on high alert, bad things can happen, and bad things did happen with some communication breakdowns and some coverage breakdowns. Guys thought, there were certain big plays that happened because one guy thought one coverage and the other guy thought the other, and I'm not sure which one of them was right, but nonetheless, big plays happen. And so you have to be alert. You have to be savvy. You have to study. Like, you can't just jump out there and go, okay, I'm gonna play corner. All right, throw it my way. Like, people have that idea because in high school it is like that to a certain degree. And in 7-on-7, it's just man coverage. So you're just guarding a guy. So that doesn't really count either. So people's idea of what it's like to play the cornerback position is very disillusioned, because you have to digest the game in a certain way. You have to be able to pick out release patterns. You have to be able to pick up on switches and how you communicate that and how you play certain things. And there's a laundry list of things that I'm not going to get into the technicalities of it, but there's a lot that has to happen for you to be a successful corner. Now, there's a lot that has to happen for you to be a successful wide receiver as well. You have to learn how to play the corner. You have to learn how to position yourself to make your break cleanly. You have to be able to catch the ball in traffic. You have to be able to catch the ball knowing that you're probably about to get hammered, right? You have to know your depth progressions. You have to know kind of where you're at, how important you are in the route concept. You have to be able to diagnose coverage so you can make route adjustments, things like that at the wide receiver position. Like, these two positions aren't easy to play together. It's not like high school where it's like, all right, go run post, slant, out, go. Like, you're like route trees in high school. It's a lot different for the most part. And it's not quite as easy. So for him to be able to do this at a high level is impressive. It makes what Travis Hunter's doing that much more impressive. And Martel Hight's going to attempt to do that, and I'm here for it. I think it's going to be a great idea. I think he's going to make a lot of plays. He's a guy like Brandon Fontenette said, he can get separation. He can create separation. He knows not only physically, like being physically gifted enough to create separation, but he's smart enough to understand, and a lot of that is his experience playing cornerback, is he knows what cornerbacks are trying to do in certain coverages, and he can diagnose that pretty quickly, and he can counter that with what he does from a wide receiver perspective. Plus, he just kind of has a knack for big plays. He's shifty. He compared returning punts like a game of tag. He's trying not to let them touch him. That just gives you an idea of just kind of how he trains for, carrying the ball in the open field. So I'm excited about this. And I think it's going to be something that's going to be extremely special for this team. I think it's going to be something that I think guys will rally around. This is going to make him obviously a leader and make him well represented. He was probably selected to go to media days because of this, and because he was going to get questions about it. There was going to be some buzz around this whole deal because Travis Hunter just did what he did last season, and he became the second pick overall. Not saying that Martel Hight is going to have the exact impact that Travis Hunter did. I hope he does. but I'm not making that prediction just yet because I don't know the progression of how many snaps he's going to get defensively, how many snaps he's going to get offensively, or if it's just go until you get tired. I don't know how they're going to treat that. So it's hard for me to make guesses. Like Coach Prime just said, Travis, we'll give you a break here and there, but you've got it the whole way. And he did. He had it the whole way. Charles Woodson, when he was at Michigan, he played 100 plus snaps a game himself. He didn't come off the field. And, they subbed him off when he needed a break every once in a while. Like if he ran some go routes or if like corners or if like receivers ran him off on go routes from a defensive perspective, try to wear him down, like those type of things. But I think it's going to be based on depth. It's going to be based on kind of what Coach Lee wants for that to happen. If he feels good about what's behind him at cornerback, he's going to probably say, yeah, go for it. But and that will be exciting because at the end of the day, you get your best 11 on the field, and he's one of the best 11. He is going to, if he's on offense, he's going to be a weapon. He can run jet sweeps. He can do bubble screens. He can do wide receiver screens. He can hit a shot play. He can hit a post route. He can catch a slant. He can run a speed out. He can do everything you need to do at the wide receiver position and be dangerous at it because he's going to catch it and make something happen. So, he's definitely excited about it. And I think, there's got to be a definite plan as far as, how they're going to attack it and what they're going to do to prepare him and the team to be able to do that. We'll talk about the preparation of it, the schematics, the logistics of it, how it can possibly work. We'll talk about all of that next, but this is an exciting opportunity for sure. Speaking of exciting opportunities, FanDuel has a lot of exciting opportunities, right? Because summer sports are in full swing. You got baseball, you got golf, you got soccer, got some tennis action. I'm sure there's some horse racing somewhere that you can bet on. FanDuel has it. If you want to bet on it, they have it. FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. You're already following the action, so why not make it a little more thrilling? With FanDuel, you can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburned at the beach. My personal favorite is, when you take a break from the ocean, you just place a few bets. Anyway, I've been using FanDuel to track my favorite matchups, and the app keeps it fresh with new daily promotions and fun ways to bet. It's easy to use, fast to pay out, and it makes even regular season games feel like must-watch events. Whether I'm placing a same-game parlay or watching a bet ride into the ninth inning, FanDuel makes it feel like I'm part of the action. Are you new to FanDuel? Well, if you are new, customers can bet just $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. So open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started. Thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen each and every day. Shout out to you everydayers if you're here every day. I'm with you. The subscriptions are growing. Keep it going. All right. Locked On SEC is the next place you should go. It's SEC Media Day week. So it's Media Days, plural. It should just be Media Week at this point. But Locked On SEC has you covered on all things SEC Media Days, all the coverage, all the exclusive interviews, everything you could possibly want or need from SEC Media Days. Locked On SEC has got it for you, and our entire network of SEC shows on this very channel has you covered on all the storylines, and they're buzzing about what's buzzing about their team. So if you want to check it out, it's probably worth the listen. Anyway, speaking of worth the listen, Coach Lee is going to be glad that he made it worth a listen for him to listen to Coach Bailey, Coach Beck, and Coach Kill, because they convinced him to give. Like any head coach, you're probably skeptical about it. So I imagine they had to talk him into it. I can see that playing out. Like I said earlier, I can see it playing out. I can see him being resistant and then just all of a sudden going. It's just at some point, randomly, a light bulb comes on and goes, you know what, we'll try it. And then he saw it happen. He's like, great idea. Glad we did that. And then he's going to be in the fall. He's going to be talking about in his postseason wrap-up. He's going to be like, yeah, I think playing Martel Hight both ways, in addition to punt returns, was a good idea, in fact. We had some explosive plays. We won 9 ball games because of Martel Hight's ability to play offense and make some plays on the offensive end of the ball. That's what you're going to, I have a feeling you're going to hear that. You're going to hear Clark Lee talking about that and talking about how, Diego Pavia was able to do what he was able to do because he had the help of Martel Hight, Cedric Alexander, another receiver, stepped up. Eli Stowers for sure is going to step up and be a major factor in this whole thing. And so I'm just the more weapons that build, I think making this offense more dynamic, I think the more excited you can get about Vanderbilt football because you have an offense that's starting to recognize what they have. And honestly, it can be a little bit of a committee type approach, right? Like they're not going to have one dominant force. And I think that's going to be by design because if you have a lot of guys that do things well consistently, you're going to have a good offense. You're going to have a good group. You're going to be able to do some things in the sense of, defense can't really key in on Cedric Alexander because Diego Pavia is going to be such a threat running the ball, or Eli Stowers on the shovel option, or the dynamic things they're going to do with him in the interior passing game, or hell, even going 12 personnel and put him out wide, right? The things you can do with Martel Hight being a factor in that. The things you could do with Junior Sherrill, who already made a huge impact last year, is going to make more of a consistent impact this year. And of course, MK Young, AJ Newberry, as he gets more and more healthy and more into the mix in the running back rotation, I think you're going to get some things there. And then there's going to be some dark horse that just comes out of nowhere, like week 7, 8, 9. There's going to be some dude that just I don't know who that's going to be. That could be AJ Newberry coming off injury, which wouldn't be as random because he made some pretty good impact last year. But like Chance Fitzgerald could come in and be like, all right, hey, I'm here. Boom. And like he has a huge game against Missouri. And you're like, gee, where'd that come from? Right. Or like Trent Hudson, big target, like is going to make some huge catch to seal a game. And you're going to be like, not the guy I was expecting to make that play, but glad he's here, right? That's the kind of thing that's going to happen as the season emerges. But for now, I think having Martel Hight, it prepares your offense to prepare a new weapon, right? It gives you the chance, it gives you the buffer to not have to rely on Chance Fitzgerald and Trent Hudson and those guys and the new faces, the freshmen, the rising sophomores who just need that little bit of extra seasoning. It takes the pressure off of them to make an impact early. Now, if they go out and make an impact early anyway, that's a bonus. But now you've got Martel Hight in the mix. You've got Junior Sherrill, Eli Stowers. I think you've got enough there to be able to get this offense in a place that it needs to be heading into week 1, week 2, week 3. Like I think you've got enough to be able to sustain yourself and give yourself enough time to develop new weapons behind those guys, right? And then you'll have Cedric Alexander, who's always a consistent weapon. AJ Newberry eventually getting in the fold. MK Young, who apparently is going to endear himself to the city and just be an absolute menace to opposing defenses. So I'm excited to see what this Vanderbilt offense has because outside of like Eli Stowers and Diego Pavia and really Cedric Alexander are the sure things. Like what you're going to get. You have a good feeling about what they bring and what they're going to bring consistently. But the great mystery is who else is going to do it. And what is that going to look like? And what that's going to look like is Martel Hight is going to be the guy. He's going to be the go-getter. He's going to be the guy that on 3rd and 7, you throw him a slant route and he takes it for 16, right? And gets a big play. He's going to be the guy in a punt return situation that's going to flip the field or get a momentum changing punt return touchdown that's going to put Vanderbilt in a good position to win a big football game, a game that they shouldn't win, like an LSU or maybe like one of the tough road games like a South Carolina or something like that. Like he's going to be an integral part in being able to do that, being able to be a 3-phase star, or really like the two major phases really, but being able to be a 3-phase star is going to be absolutely insanely awesome if he can do that. And I think it'll help this team tremendously to be able to do that from that perspective. But again, I think it has a chance. And there's some dark horses sitting in the wings behind him. It's not like it's Martel Hight and it just drops off. There's some talent there. We just don't know which talent it's going to be, because there's a list of guys that could do it, but we just don't know. It's hard to tell. Who are those guys? I'm not real sure, but I'm very excited to find out. I'm very excited to find out how much 12 personnel they're going to get into with like an Eli Stowers and a Junior Sherrill and a Martel Hight maybe, or you get into like a 2-back set with like MK Young and Junior, and not Junior Sherrill, but Martel Hight. Like being able to use Martel Hight in a bunch of different places on the offense, I think is also going to be fun. Being able to move him around, not only in alignment, but like motions and shifts and things like that, to be able to get him on the move and force defenses to really make quick decisions, which, good defenses will make good, quick decisions. But, there's teams, and every team does this. Every team makes these mistakes from the best defense on down to the worst. The worst teams just make more mistakes. But anyway, that's kind of where we're at there with Martel Hight. And I'm very, very excited to see how they scheme him up, see how they use him, just to kind of see what a secret weapon really looks like in a Tim Beck offense. But we're going to talk more about not the secret weapons, but the dark horses, the depth at both positions that Martel Hight will be commanding this year, and figuring out just how it's going to work logistically and depth-wise. But don't go anywhere. All right, we're quickly wrapping up the show, and man, SEC Media Week has been – it's gone by like this, man, like a lightning bolt. It's the summer as an educator. It just gets faster and faster, man. And you just, I felt like I just sat down right after Memorial Day and was struggling to find a topic. And now here we are charging full steam ahead towards the beginning of the season and the beginning of training camp. So I'm very excited to see what this team has. And what makes me even more excited is that, obviously you have the secret weapon in Martel Hight. You've got some real star power on the defensive side of the ball in Randon Fontenette, and kind of like the hybrid front line secondary guy. He's kind of like that slasher. That's a front and a secondary guy at the same time. You have a great defensive line, which we'll talk about and feature a little bit more as we get closer to the start of the season. But what's it going to look like with wide receiver and DB depth? Like this Martel Hight thing, it's got to work because you have depth. Like that is the goal here. That is hey, it's only going to work if these other guys step up when he's not playing, or gives him the opportunity to have a double major, so to speak, and give him the opportunity to be able to do this experiment, not really an experiment, but to do this offensive defensive thing. So here's what it's going to look like here. All right. Your key wide receivers. And I think this is not in any sort of order by any stretch, because like Junior Sherrill's probably got the most experience returning, but Joseph McVay, because he's had some big plays and big play capability, Trent Hudson, Junior Sherrill, Chance Fitzgerald. If I had more than, I would just list the whole depth chart if I had the room, but I think these are the 4 guys that are going to really kind of be in the mix, truthfully, at that position. Bosky Barrett, I think, is somebody. Trey Richardson is going to be somebody as well. Like there could be somebody that's not on this list that emerges. So don't put too much stock in this list. This is just kind of some of the guys that I thought would have a chance at some of the wide receiver spots based on production last year and based on some athletic ability out of the transfer portal and things like that. So these are some key guys that I think you should keep an eye on. But I've never seen a more wide open receiver room for the most part. I think Junior Sherrill is the only kind of lock in this room, and the rest is just going to be it's going to be a fun training camp to see who comes out of this wide receiver room, because Martel Hight's going to lock down one of those spots. It's just going to happen right now. But who's going to be the guy that's going to push it? Who's going to be the guy that is going to take advantage of, hey, Martel Hight needs a break, I'm going to be the guy that goes in? Is it going to be Trent Hudson? Are one of these guys or a few of these guys going to force Tim Beck to throw in more 10 personnel stuff and be able to feature a lot of these guys on the field, right? Are any of these guys gonna make you feel good about the passing game? Like, hey, we've got Joseph McVay out there. We're going to be good, because Joseph McVay is electric. He's just not as consistent as you want to be, and he was a freshman, and so I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt in that regard and say that because he was a freshman, freshmen aren't exactly the most consistent group of players. Making the jump from high school to college is never an easy thing. So being consistent is a very, very tough thing to do. Trent Hudson coming in from the transfer portal, a veteran presence. I think he's going to have some sort of impact. I don't know what kind of impact that is. Is he going to be the big reliable target? Is he going to be the chunk play guy? Is he going to be able just to be a reliable weapon? Junior Sherrill, what's he going to do? He's definitely the leader of this group. I can tell you that for sure. He's got the most experience, he's got the most knowledge, and he's got the best rapport with Diego Pavia. Chance Fitzgerald, I think, is reinvigorated based on the fact that he is a Nashville kid from Nolensville. And this is, I'm not sure why he went to Virginia Tech out of high school, but doesn't matter, because he portaled to Vanderbilt and he's right where he needs to be. How does that motivate him to make an impact? All four of these guys, I think, will make an impact at some point. And if you get small contributions, small but very impactful contributions from a lot of these guys, from like 6 or 7 of these guys, I consider that a victory. Do you have an explosive wide receiver group? I don't know. That remains to be seen. But you can still have a productive one, and you can still have one that contributes in a major way. That you wouldn't consider like, hey, this is an NFL worthy wide receiver group. But I'm very excited to kind of see what they have now. These are your key cornerbacks, I think, that are going to. And Colby Taylor's on the list. He had a tough year last year, so it was hard to put him on the list. But he's definitely there, and hopefully improving a little bit and playing up to like the Vanderbilt standard. But these guys are going to help make Clark Lea's decision to put Martel Hight, unless you get a rash of injuries, knock on wood, hopefully not. But these are the guys that I think are going to allow Clark Lee to feel good about Martel Hight playing offense. Jalen Lackey, I think he's going to be the best one of the group. Jordan Matthews, transfer in from Tennessee. He's coming over from the dark side. Mark Davis and Marlon Jones did not play last year. They were with the team, but they did not play due to injuries and other things. So they're in the mix now, and I was through the moon about them last year. They're both all conference guys coming from the FCS level. Both have a lot of ability at the cornerback position, and they're adding really good depth. And this could be a really good cornerback rotation for Steve Gregory and Clark Lea's defense. And this could be a difference maker. This could lead Coach Lee to be like, you know what, Martell, you can play a greater percentage on offense, and we'll rotate you. We'll give you breaks on defense because of these guys, right? I think there's more of a chance that Martel Hight gets his break on defense versus offense at this moment. That could change, but I think you're going to get that. And that's not saying that Martel Hight is worse on defense. That's just saying the position he is occupying on defense is in better shape to be able to help him make this dream happen of him being a two-way stud. I think the marketability behind that is awesome. I think that opens the door for other people at the high school level. Like, if you're Caden Harris and you feel like you want to play on both sides of the ball and Kirby Smart won't let you do it, that's something that you could possibly make happen if this I don't want to say experiment because it's not really an experiment, but if this experience goes extremely well, maybe you start getting some top recruits in that want to play both sides of the ball. Maybe that's something you can pitch like, hey, your ability to play on offense and your ability to play wide receiver is going to help you get some opportunities to do that here at Vanderbilt because we offer that. We're that flexible. We feel good about our coaching that we can support you on offense. We can support you on defense. and you're good enough to do both. And if you can help us at both, we will support that. They're not going to do that, high school style for everybody, but only the ones that can truly handle it. Because like I said at the beginning, playing one side of the ball is hard enough. Playing two is very difficult. Martel Hight is somebody I feel like can handle it. Clark Lee feels like he can handle it, and that's the most important person to feel like he can handle it. If Clark Lee thinks it, who am I to judge, right? Anyway, that's all the fun we're going to have there. Like I said, Martel Hight is a secret weapon, right? We said Brandon Fontenette was Rambo. The secret weapon, Weapon X, is Martel Hight. He's a secret weapon, and we got the Pavia factor. So we got nicknames for all of our guys. I'm going to work on that for the entire team. But you got Weapon X. Well, no, that's Brian Dawkins. I can't use that. The secret weapon. We'll have to come up in the comments. Let me know. Come up with a cool secret weapon nickname for Martel Hight that's not already taken. I was going to use Weapon X, which seems extremely fun, but Brian Dawkins is already that. So don't want to take that from and use that and copy that. Rambo for Brandon Fontenette because he's a silent killer, and of course the Pavia factor. It's a real thing, trust me. But anyway, let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe, pass the word, and we'll see you back here next time on the Locked On Vandy podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. So long, see you later. Peace. Anchor down.